Thank you for joining us. Tremendous response to what we're doing.
Like this.
We love being used out of the 3x1 set pass route concepts that are you can use to beat cover two. Welcome to X&O The Joes. I'm Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining us. Tremendous response to what we're doing. We love being able to give this information to you. If you like what we're doing, remember, the best way to support us is to like this. Subscribe to the channel. That's a great way to help us continue to be able to bring you this information. Today, we've got a great thing for you. Offensive sets, a 3x1 set. Many people use the 3x1 set. What I want to do is I want to show you a couple plays to use out of the 3x1 set pass route concepts that are considered cover 2 beaters, cover 3 beaters, and man beaters. So I'm going to show you 3 different concepts that you can use to beat cover 2, cover 3, and man. Let's get started. As you see right here, we have a cover 2 look. It's a 4-3 defense, cover 2 over the top. Our corners are pressed up hard. Either they may be hard pressed or they may be 2 to 3 yards off, depending upon how the defensive coordinator wants to play them. What you're trying to do in any pass route concepts is get your players to areas that make the defender within that area stress. So when you're thinking about cover 2, you've got to remember this and this. Those are the areas where they're most vulnerable. Now, how are they most vulnerable there? It's very simple. Because this guy is responsible for this half of the field. So he's responsible for everything from here to the sideline. That is impossible for one person to be able to cover. So what they hope is that you, as an offensive coordinator, you call concepts that have absolutely nothing to do with their coverage. And trust me, I see it all the time in youth league. I see it all the time in high school. I even see it in college, where you see people running work against the coverage that they're getting. That will never work. They're banking on their players winning individual matchups. But here on X&O The Joes, we can't bank on having players that can win individual matchups. We need to scheme our players open. So we know that right here and right here, these are the areas where we have the biggest chance for success. Unfortunately for us, these are also higher risk or lower percentage throws because they're not in the short range. They're more in the intermediate range. And because they're in the intermediate range, we're taking a bigger chance. Here's where you have that third place. Now, you don't see it right now, but the third place where you're going to be able to exploit is right in here. This area, about 3 to 5 yards underneath this linebacker that's out here, because this linebacker's job in a cover 2, if he's not blitzing, is to drop, hook the curl, which means that he's giving up this area in here to make sure that we can't complete anything here. So even though it looks like it's covered right now, this area is going to get vacated by that linebacker because their responsibility, if they're in cover 2, is to drop, hook the curl. We have the flat cover, you have hook the curl, you have the deep half. That means this area, and this area. So the concept that we want to run is a concept that exploits these areas. You can already guess one of the routes that we're going to have. One of the routes is definitely going to be a post. Right? One of the routes has to be some type of short route. And then the third route, in my opinion, has to be another deep route. So here's the concept that I would run in these areas. And I'm going to keep these little circles here so you can see them. I'm going to run a smash concept with my number 1 and number 2. Number 2 is going to look to outside release outside release from this backer and get to the corner. Now, I always stress to my receivers that the corner is the corner of the end zone. Do not let them cut this off flat, because now you give the cornerback an opportunity to play shallow and deep. Now, this cornerback's job is to be here on number one if number one goes short. Now, there's a chance that they would carry number one deep if nothing shows in the flat. So we want to make sure that he doesn't go deep. But instead of running your basic hitch route that you would normally run, that just has him covered so that you can get over top, I want to give him an opportunity to get into an open area. So I'm going to run my hitch inside and tell him to run inside and work to the opening. The cornerback has to stay hard, but doesn't necessarily lock up with this guy man-to-man, because he still has to wait for anything that might be coming. He may sink back. So he sits here. We've got the smash concept. That's our, I'm sorry, I said post and I meant corner earlier. That should have been a corner. But here's where your post comes in at. Because instead of running the post away and over to this guy who will definitely be looking this way on the 3x1, we are going to run a vertical or a seam route. Now, we are stressing the free safety. The free safety can't be right. If the free safety, whose eyes will be at number 2 first, because most safeties read 2 at the beginning, he's going to see this corner route and he's going to have to respect it. Quarterback manipulates with his eyes. If he steps this way, he immediately throws the seam route. Throws that seam route up over this linebacker and over this linebacker's head, but he doesn't loft it to give the free safety an opportunity to change direction, or to give this strong safety an opportunity to get over. What he's looking to do is to throw this at anywhere between 12 and 15 yards. That's how far the completion should be. If he throws this 12 to 15 yards, it's going to be open. If that guy decides they're going to stay hard in the middle, if that free safety decides he's going to stay hard in the middle, now you throw your ball away from the free safety and your wide receiver adjusts to the ball. So he goes to the corner, but the ball comes here. This receiver can easily adjust to that ball. But what the receiver can't do is run this short and then you throw the ball here and now he adjusts up to the ball. So you see our smash concept here, our vertical, our seam from number 3, our backside, we want to run a post because we want to occupy the backside safety. We don't want this guy to be able to creep. If we see him creeping, then we're just going to pump this backside safety because this corner can't be on that safety. Correct. Now, there's a good chance that they may be in a quarter half, and that guy might be locked up. But even if they're in a quarter half, if this guy bails and that guy goes hook the curl, you still have this underneath hitch. So this is a great cover 2 beater. It's a great cover 2 beater because this guy has to make the decision, am I going here? When this guy drops, he's got to go, am I going to try to carry number 3 or number 2 deep and give up this underneath route? Great concept to run versus a cover 2 look. Opportunities here, and here to make plays. The best thing about it is that you can run this from in the pocket, or you can run this as a sprint out. So now you give your quarterback an opportunity to sprint out. He's got a better look here, angle here. It also gives the play more time to develop than it may have to develop inside the pocket. Your offensive line may be struggling to block at some point, so you give this back a little help. I'm sorry, you give this right tackle a little help by the back with the end to be able to get the edge. Everybody reaches and rips or cuts from the backside. You should be able to outrun this backside end if they try to bring a backside end. If they try to bring any linebacker, they automatically get washed up caught up in the wash. So if we go here, he steps to this gap. If that linebacker tries to blitz, he's going to pick that guy up. He's cutting the nose down. He's going here if that guy tries to come. We'll let the end come off the edge and take our chances. So you can still run this concept with that sprint out action. And that is a smash concept versus cover two. Now, the beautiful thing about it, if you really think about it, is you can run a smash concept where there's an over-under a bunch of different ways. So, for instance, you could actually change this up. Bring this wide receiver on the go route. Have this guy just run right here. That little quick stop. Have this guy run the go. You're still making this free safety defend here and here. This guy's still going to have to get to his depth. You can hit that underneath. The cornerback has to try to collision and work. He's got to make sure nothing comes into his area. So once he gets beyond the corner, if the corner doesn't carry him, the free safety has to get over the top. Or else you're going to be able to complete that 12 to 15-yard ball either way all day. So it's a great concept versus cover two to be able to really take advantage of what people are doing. Okay, so against the cover three, when you're 3-by-1, the areas that you're looking to take advantage of have to be exploited. We already know that the deep thirds are covered. But there are significant areas to take advantage of in here and in here. But the real money versus the cover three happens here and here. And that's where we want to make sure we exploit this triangle. So they have to make sure that they have this seam covered. They use this stud backer to be able to take care of the seam. And so we're going to take a seam and run it right at him. We're going to make this stud collision and carry to come off. Now, if he does that, if he collisions and carries, we already know we're going with the ball. We've got the hitch right here, and we've got the hitch right here. So if he collisions and carries number two for any particular amount of time, if he touches number two, the ball should be coming out to number one right now. The fun part is once he does that and we complete this hitch, and he does that and we complete this hitch, what is he going to do? It's going to go that way immediately to try to take the hitch away. And that's where you take advantage of the seam, 12 to 15 yards. That's as far as that ball should be going, 12 to 15 yards. Now, if things get wise and 1 and 2 is not there, you still have 3, because if this guy stays, then breaks late, you click your eyes and you come to number 3, because the Mike's drop is hook the curl. So he's trying to take away this underneath intermediate route. Got the hook the curls from the backs, and the whip and the stud, they're curl to flat. So we're trying to stress the curl flat defender. In the cover 2, we want to stress this curl flat defender. He cannot be right. If he goes that way, boom, boom. If he goes this way, boom. If he goes that way, boom. He can't be right. And because he can't be right, in the cover 3, excuse me, I say cover 2? I meant cover 3, you have to excuse me. That's the second time I've made one of those mistakes today. We're all human. But in the cover 3, he can't be right. That curl flat defender in the cover 3 can't be right. And so we want to stress him. So double hitches with the seam route from number 2. Now, obviously, you could run the seam route with number 3 and run the double hitches from 1 and 2 because you still have this guy who has to make a decision. If he goes this way, you hit the second hitch. If he stays on the second hitch, you hit the first hitch. But I like to give a little bit more distance and really stress that curl flat defender because I know that as a former defensive coordinator, I want a collision number 2. I don't want number 2 to get a free release because if he free releases and they send 4 verts is the death of cover 3. 4 verts that's not played correctly, that's the death of cover 3. So we want to make sure we collision number 2 so we can't get those 4 verts. So double hitch, that is what I like versus a cover 3 defense. So the third 3-by-1 concept I want to show you is versus man. Now in man, it's always interesting how they're going to man up. You never know if they're going to stack someone deep, but let's just say they're going to press somebody. A lot of times they'll press the man that's on the line of scrimmage. So let's say this corner is going to press number 1. Strong safety and the stud are going to play a little further back so that they can try to avoid each other in the wash because what we want to run when we're dealing with man is we want to run rub routes. Now, you've heard of rub routes, normal concepts like double slant flat or exchange or big X. So what I like to run is a whip wheel seam. A whip wheel seam. So how this works is number 1 is going to run a whip route. Now the whip route is when you act like you're coming inside and whip back out. Inside out. Now, here's the awesome thing about it is because when you exchange, a lot of times what defenders are doing now is they're exchanging who has the coverage. So we're going to run the whip and the wheel off of this. Now the whip and the wheel, if they both go with each other, this whip could possibly occupy this safety and get you that wheel pretty quickly at, again, 12 to 15 yards down the field. Not a 30-yard ball, 12 to 15. However, if they exchange, what happens is the corner picks up the wheel, and now this safety thinks you're coming inside, so he's going to take those 2 steps inside. You whip out to an open, vacated area. Number 3, whip wheel seam. Number 3 is going to occupy, obviously, this stud, but also the free safety so that the wheel route has an opportunity to work without having to get in the way. Now, the beautiful thing about this concept with this whip wheel seam is that, like out of cover 2 and out of cover 3, you can run sprint out with it. So now sprint out, you're coming this way, this guy's coming there. They may think it's a crack. All of a sudden he whips out, this guy's on the wheel, throw the wheel. If that guy drops down, hit the whip. So we've got a whip out of number 1, a wheel out of number 2, a seam out of number 3. Now, even in man-to-man, these guys still don't want to get beat deep. So that corner's really going to try to get hands-on to number 1. This guy is going to want to fight over the top if there's a wheel. If he's going to carry number 2, even if they exchange, he's going to fight over the top of that, which is why I said that when you come here, that ball might be 12 to 15 because that guy's trying to get over the top of the wheel. 12 to 15, you put it on the back shoulder. This stud, if he misses hands and you get over the top, or if this number 3 guy is the guy to blitz and they try to bring that backer, which I don't understand why they would do, but if they do that, now you got an opportunity to throw that ball now. But that's going to occupy your free safety, who right now is your free man. These guys in man, this could be a rub route for the wheel, or that wheel can be a vacate route so that when we come back with the whip is wide open. That's it for this edition of X&O's The Joes. Remember, cover 2, we like that smash concept with the seam from number 3. Can be run with the sprint out. Versus cover 3, we want to run that double hitch concept with the seam that could turn into a corner or a post from number 2. And then versus man, we like that whip, wheel, seam, that all 3 of those can be run either from the pocket or with a sprint out. And that's the beauty of being able to run the same play 2 times in a row, but making it look different by doing 2 different protections for it. First time, I'm quick step, throw. Next time, I'm sprinting out, getting the ball out of my hand to whichever I read. So hopefully this has been beneficial for you. If you like what we're doing, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We've had overwhelming response, and we've had a lot of subscribers. We want a lot more. We know that there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people out there that are in youth football, that are in high school football, that do football overseas, in Germany and Italy and Ireland. And we want all of you tuning in to see what we have to do. We're giving this information away free. So please hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend about it. For X&O's The Joes, I'm Gene Clemens. Until next time.